The moon is out of orbit, and it is up to Ed Warren, Samwell Tarly, and Storm from the X-Men to save the world from impending destruction. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and I am a bit late to this one, but I am finally reviewing Moonfall, the new movie by Roland Emmerich, and you know what you're expecting when it comes to Roland Emmerich movies. A lot of CGI, a lot of the world blowing up, and some awful dialogue. And you get all of that here. And with Roland Emmerich films, he seems to be able to transcend that critic bias because you know what you're expecting, so you don't have your expectations too high when you go into it. And for the most part, Moonfall was a blast. Seeing Samwell Tarly just dropping these very awkward one-liners is great to watch, and it never gets old. The effects, for the most part, are really well done, and I love the creative way he plays with the moon's gravity and how it affects our waves and our tectonic plates, and how things can go haywire if the moon goes even slightly close to the planet Earth. And there's something just really cool about seeing the moon just rolling over the sky and people basically just running from the moon. It is absolutely glorious. However, this is probably one of his weakest efforts. As much as his previous film Geostorm was just balls to the walls, nutty fun, it never tries to be more than what it was. And this movie, at a certain point, tries to be more clever. Now, it's not the first time he's done that. The Day After Tomorrow did something very similar to that. But at least in The Day After Tomorrow, you could sort of care for the characters. Same with Independence Day, despite the bad dialogue and writing, you could sort of care for the characters because the performances really elevate them. But in Moonfall, outside of these main three characters, the rest of them are all either poor actors or just cannon fodder for the destruction. And the movie doesn't even try to hide that. There are several deaths in this that you feel like you should feel something for, but they are basically the equivalent of being swatted away like a fly. These characters could have been a lot better because, quite frankly, Roland Emmerich has done it before and he has shown he can write a smart script. One of his recent films that no one talks about really is Midway. Going into that, I was worried it was going to be a disaster because it's directed by Roland Emmerich, but it actually not only managed to be a very entertaining war film, but a really historically accurate war film as well. Even some of the Hollywoodized moments did actually happen in real life. But getting back to Moonfall, it tries to be more clever. It gets to the final third, and when there's the big reveal of why the moon is acting the way it does and what's actually going on, it's a bit too philosophical and a bit too much of the human privilege taking place. And what I mean by that is, well, we assume as humans we are just superior in every single way, and quite frankly, it is a pain in the butt to see, and the film doesn't really help that. It's not exactly a yay America thing like you had with Independence Day. It is very much a, oh, let's be deep and celebrate humanity, and it just doesn't work in a movie about the moon coming to crash into planet Earth. The effects, as I said, are really good, but the side characters are really weak. The acting is really wooden, at least with some bad dialogue. You can save it with a over the top or a serious performance that plays it really straight. With the actors in this, you can tell they're just reading the dialogue rather than acting the dialogue, and that is a big problem for me. This movie sort of sequel baits in the ending, and quite frankly, we don't really see any sequel to a Roland Emmerich movie. The acting is fine from the main three. They know what they're in, but they're at least trying, which is more can be said for a lot of the other actors. There are a lot of side characters just pointless. And I would say even the world getting destroyed sequences are a lot more lackluster. Even in 2012, that terrible movie, that at least had some entertaining action set pieces on Earth being destroyed. This one, everything that was in space was decent. Everything on Earth was not so much. So Moonfall for me is a weird one because you know what you're expecting going into it. When you think of the things he's done before, like Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, Midway, and the madness of Geostorm, this is definitely one of his weaker offerings, and I feel like there could have been a lot more done with it. The actors could have probably done a bit better, could have been directed a bit better. Though I will say, as I watched this in 4DX, it was a lot more fun than I think it would have been if I'd watched it in any other format, having my see it just flying all over the place during these big space sequences was really good. And there's just something so cheesily corny about an astronaut singing Africa very badly in space. That's what we start off with. And unfortunately, doesn't manage to live up to that fun cheesiness the whole way through. And the last third really lets it down. So overall, Moonfall for me, one of Emmerich's weakest films. The acting, for the most part, is pretty weak apart from our main three. The one-liners delivered are fun, and you know it's going to be bad dialogue, so I don't really want to bash this out too much. The special effects are great as always, and I will say this film didn't try to go a bit deep like it did. It probably would have been more favourably reviewed from me, but from myself, I'm going to have to say that Moonfall is a tea that has too much milk. So, Moonfall, have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. What is your favourite Roland Emmerich movie? Coming up on the channel, we have Death in the Now to get to. We have Uncharted, and the Vox Machina series will continue. So, a lot of content coming in the next few days. So, make sure you hit that bell notification so you never miss anything like that. But until next time, everybody, my name is Josh. I have been Movie Apprentice. See you all in the next one.